Hello everyone, it's me, Erica, and today I wanted to do a video on a Commonplace page, but also my journaling setup and why I have so many books. And yeah, kind of a quick intro, but I guess let's go ahead and get started as I explain my journal setup and what I do and how I journal. And that is gonna start probably with these two books. So yeah, let me get myself organized. So I first started journaling in this book in 2016, and these two books are what I consider my spirit books. So this is my entire spiritual journey. It's everything I've learned in regards to anything new age, metaphysical, witchy, and my personal experiences. And they're also my dream journals. I consider dreams to be very spiritual, and sometimes they can have messages from the other realms, or whatever you want to call it, the universe, the divine, whatever. Sometimes they don't, sometimes they do, but to me it's kind of just in that realm of like otherness and otherworldliness. So that's why my dream journal is also in my spirit book, or my spirit books. And that's kind of where I started journaling, is 2016, when I decided to start a spiritual journey and I wanted to document it. Some of this has like stuff from like my mundane life, because obviously when you're asking tarot questions or when you're dreaming about stuff and all that goodness, you are obviously having it relate to your daily life. But I found myself really wishing, the older I got, that I had more of a day-to-day kind of journal. This second book also ended up being, this one's from 2021 to now. It ended up being a lot also about my therapy journey, because I do parts work in therapy, and I think if you have a really good therapist, and you consider yourself religious or spiritual, your therapist should go and work hand in hand with your spirituality and your religion. And so a lot of my self-care, self-discovery kind of therapy journey ended up in this one as well. And I sort of just wanted some space to, include my mundane life as well, sort of as a way to track things that I needed to talk about in therapy, but also allowing myself a kind of different category of space to allow myself to vent or do whatever I wanted. So spirit books are step one. And then these journals were step two. So this is a Vera Bradley journal. It's just their like basic one. I don't really care for the pattern, but it was a birthday gift, and I love Vera Bradley journals. I used to. I don't know if I still love them or still have the obsession, but when I used to write my novels by hand, I used to write them in Vera Bradley journals. I loved the texture of the paper, the spacing. Usually the lines were in random colors like pink or green, so they were kind of light and kind of just let the text stand off. And this one is navy, so the lines are kind of very dark. And they also had pockets, which I was in school at the time, so I used to just like throw random stuff in here, or random notes. And stuff, and yeah, so I grew up writing in Vera Bradley journals, and then when I got to college and kind of post-college, I started to use them just for like random note-taking. I have good notes on my iPad, and I used that a lot in college for note-taking, but sometimes you just want the feeling of writing by hand. And so these journals also kind of are places for random brainstorming, like work notes, goals for the new year, just anything random. Mind maps usually end up in here, but this journal is also specifically for journaling, in the very traditional sense of, these are my thoughts, these are my feelings, these are my day-to-day actions, blah 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 blah. And I've been doing this, I think, since earlier this year, like February or March. Yeah, it looks like I started in February is when I decided to start doing this and this kind of journal, and taking more of my therapy experiences and putting them in here, just so everything was easier to find and reference. But also some of my therapy stuff still ends up in the spirit book, because sometimes therapy is a very spiritual experience, in my opinion. But that is how I do. So I have the spirit book for spirituality, metaphysical, dreams, etc. And then I have my mundane diaries, which is just like day-to-day, whatever, thoughts and feelings. Also like random, like if I get inspiration for a writing piece, I usually start it in here. And then I have my Commonplace book, which is strictly, because I have these two other journals, my Commonplace is strictly Commonplace. I started in the 2023 Mega Weeks Hobonichi. This is just what I saw everyone on the internet using when I just discovered commonplacing. But I didn't like how little space I had, because I'm not using it as like a to-do list or really an agenda or a planner. I have very good memory, so I don't need that. So I needed more space for journaling, which is why I switched from this to the bigger mundane book. And then commonplacing, I just like didn't know what to commonplace. It was just like mostly quotes. Like I literally only have these 3 pages, and I just again found that I wanted more space to play with. So I have kept this out so I can compare the grid darkness for you. I was getting a lot of questions on Tumblr about what I use for my Commonplace book. It is just a Staples, generic Staples brand black journal. I think it's called the TruRed. I'll link it down below. It was like $10. I didn't want to invest in anything if I wasn't going to continue to commonplace and enjoy commonplacing. So that's kind of why I went for like this affordable option. And it's completely blank. So again, my needs are very simple. I just kind of do, ever since I've started, I just do the like margins, and like that's all I need. That's all I've ever needed. I've had no desire to change. It's been like 3 months now. Maybe in the future I will or whatever, but again, needs are pretty simple. Articles and information goes here, commentary and stuff goes on the side, which you can see more specifically here. But as you can see, someone was asking if the grid was dark. I don't know. Hobonichis, Staples. Hobonichis, Staples. So the Hobonichi has like slightly yellower pages, whereas the Staples is still cream. They're both off-white. They're not white. This one's like more of like a cool tone beige, and this one's like a weird yellow and stuff. But I think the grids are similar in darkness. I don't know if it'll be able to tell on camera. But yeah, those are what the grids look like. But I totally recommend if you're just interested in trying commonplacing and don't know if you'll stick to it. I don't know, the Staples one is great. They have a dotted one, they have a lined one. Yeah, so that's why I went with this. So that's the Commonplace book, and this is what I also would consider my like casual scrapbook. I've talked about that in one of my videos before, about how commonplacing to me is like casual scrapbooking. And I don't know if people know what I mean by like formal scrapbooking. So I thought I'd show you. This is my formal scrapbook. This is like curated major life events throughout the years. I have one for high school, and this one's kind of my everything post-college. I have one for college too, but it's anyway, moral of the story is I don't know how to organize years after high school, because how do you fit that into time groupings, because you know nothing is measured the same way anymore. But so like it's pretty formal. Like I would say my scrapbooking style is also very like neat and elegant compared to a lot of people's. A lot of people just, you know, use like a commonplace, like cut things up and paste them into like a small book, like a commonplace book for their scrapbooking, and that's just what they do. But this is what I grew up with. And again, it's pretty minimal in terms of like what my personal style is. But like these are photos that I pay to print out, and this is when I graduated college. It's nice paper, it's nice stickers, everything's like layout. I pay for these to be printed through like very nice printers so they don't fade and they're acid free and blah 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 blah. So this is what I mean by like formal scrapbooking. And I think what I would love for 2024 is I want like a mix of everything. I would love to have like a book that is, I don't know, like yay big or something, kind of small but kind of portable, not this long, more wide, that I can do like mundane scrapbooking in, where if like I go on a date with my boyfriend or something, I can just like pop that into a scrapbook. Or if I go to the park with my niece, I can like take a picture and just like print it out with one of my cheaper thermal printers, and like put those in there, along with some like mundane journal entries, because the things that end up in this mundane journal diary are very like thoughts and feelings, reflections heavy. It's still sort of rare that I journal or write down what I did in that day. So I would love to have like a book for that, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's sort of my setup and what I do and how I work. I don't have like a planner. Like I don't have a planner because I don't need one. Oh, it's upside down. Like I don't need a planner to tell me like when I have tests because I'm not in school, or I don't need a calendar for like work meetings because that's all on digital. It's automatic in digital, and I don't need like a work to-do list or a project list or something in like a physical form, because I find that I have a very good memory. Like I don't do any of this for memory keeping in the sake that like I'm going to forget in the next week what I've done, or how I felt. And you can see that sometimes I delay what I write in my mundane journal because, again, I have good memory. I can remember how I felt. I can remember what I did and who said what for the most part. So it's not necessarily like I'm doing all this for memory keeping in the sense of I will forget. This is more so memory keeping for like when I'm 70 or 80 or 90 and don't remember. That's what that's for. Or like for future kids or nieces or nephews who are going through something and don't necessarily want to talk about it, but you can hand this to them and be like, hey, I went through the same thing. You maybe not want to talk to me about it directly, but you can talk to my past self about it. I think that's really sweet. But yeah, for to-dos, those aren't important enough for me to like care about and want to record. I honestly think a lot of that is a waste of like actual paper, because I go through my to-do lists very quickly and I go through my project lists at work very quickly. So I feel like I would just waste a lot of paper for stuff that's like, I don't know, not super important. If it's like a big project, I might commonplace. I don't know. I've literally not had to commonplace anything about work, or have a to-do list or anything for work specifically, because I just don't need it. I have emails to remind me what I need to do and what the project status is. I have Apple iCloud notes, where I can reach them on my phone or on my computer, and that's about all I need. I just update that project on the note, or have a running to-do list on there and then pick 3 for daily. I don't need anything crazy for my to-do list or my planning, because a lot of it is automatically digital. When you work in corporate America, which I do, unfortunately, usually they have calendars built into your email with lots of notifications that go off anyway, so it's kind of hard to forget to do things. Although some people really do. My boss, she keeps like a physical journal and writes down notes for every single meeting she's in and every single project. And that's just how her mind works. That's fine. No tea, no shade to anyone. I hope I didn't sound like that. But for me personally, I don't need that, so I don't have a book for that. I again would like a book that's maybe like, honestly, the size of this piece of paper, to do more of like a mundane scrapbook for like small park visits and blah, 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 blah. And then at the end of like a time period of 4 to 5 years, pick out like my favorite moments and create more of a curated like formal scrapbook like this. Also, 2024 is going to be a big year for me because I'm moving. If all goes to plan, if everything works out, I will be moving from the East Coast of the United States of America all the way over to the West Coast of the United States of America. And that move is probably going to take me 3 or 4 months, because I'm gonna go stay with family and all that good stuff, go see some things on the trip, and my cat is coming with me. And again, if everything works out, it's so I can go live with my boyfriend, and that will be a journey, an adjustment to a completely new area. I've obviously visited before, and I don't think I would move there if I didn't like it, but it's going to be an adjustment. There's going to be a lot of new things, and I think it's going to be a turning point in my life. So I would love to have kind of like a smaller, mundane scrapbook that I can catalog and write that journey and save it for myself. But yeah, that is sort of my journal setup. It's actually, I don't know, is it complicated? Is it simple? Let me know what you think. To me, I think it's pretty simple, because everything has a category and everything has a place. But I know some people don't work like that, and they like having things all in one giant book. I don't think there's anything else in here. That's sort of what I mean by my setup. Everything has a category, everything has a place. Yeah. That's really all. Let me know if you guys liked that. Let me know if you guys know any books that are kind of like the size I'm looking for. I'll probably just go to Staples and see what they have around. But yeah, I guess we'll get into the Commonplace section if this video is not too long. If it is too long and I'm ending here now, I hope you have a lovely day. Or if you're just jumping off the video, I hope you have a lovely day, because you absolutely 100% deserve it.